Good morning, everybody. How we doing? 4/24/24. I don't know if that's a thing. Seems like a thing. Maybe a little bit excited when I looked down and saw the calendar this morning. So, hopefully this brings good fortune this morning. But we don't really rely on good fortune. We rely on preparation, meeting opportunity. That's why we're here each and every day to prepare, especially today on a day for me where my stomach is not cooperating. Shocker. No, this time I actually did it to myself. I didn't realize I was making something and it had old milk in it, and I didn't realize until afterward that I had consumed it. So I'm on my second ginger tea this morning. As of course, from there the mental kicks in where it's like, ew, and then that makes your stomach even more upset. So we're fighting a good fight this morning for sure. Trying to maintain a healthy, internal microbiome, but off to a rough start with the consumption of the old milk. That I was wondering, it was definitely tasting off, but I was like just not paying attention, mind in other places, and yeah. So we're having kind of a sitcom morning this morning where I'm battling little things here and there. But we're pushing through, right? I'm here today. I'm not going to be super talkative. We're just going to get right into it because, I'm focusing on staying alive here with my stomach doing backflips. So I'll spare you guys the details and let's get into it. We're here to get 1% better as always. Make sure you throw that in the chat, signifying your intention. Throw that one in the chat. Signifying that intention to get 1% better by the end of this session, right? Pushing through all odds, bad night's sleep, stomach ache, all that good stuff. We're pushing through, banding together, supporting each other, and making it happen. So let's dive into our top news here, which is phase out delay. Google is delaying the phase out of third party cookies on its browser Chrome for the third time because of regulatory hurdles, and now expects the process to start early next year. Quote, we recognize that there are ongoing challenges related to reconciling divergent feedback from the industry, regulators, and developers, and will continue to engage closely with the entire ecosystem, the search giant said. The announcement comes days before quarterly status reports from Google and the UK's Competition and Markets Authority on the phase out of third party cookies, which will be replaced by privacy sandbox technologies to improve consumer privacy. In terms of regulatory pushback, the phase out, which will transform targeted advertising, has attracted regulatory scrutiny over concerns the move could further boost Google's dominance in the digital advertising market due to increased reliance on first party data in its advertising platforms. The UK's Information Commissioner's Office last week told the CMA, which is overseeing the phase out, that Google's plan has gaps that advertisers can exploit. Quote, it's critical that the CMA has sufficient time to review all evidence, including results from industry tests, which the CMA has asked market participants to provide by the end of June, said Google. Quote, we remain committed to engaging closely with the CMA and ICO, and we hope to conclude that process this year. So there's been delay after delay. The company has spent years preparing for the phase out, following in the footsteps of Apple and Mozilla, which already have options to block third party cookies on their browsers. Google even began restricting cookies in January for 1% of Chrome users as part of a limited test. However, it delayed its phase out deadline twice already since it was originally set in 2020, giving advertisers more time to prepare for the change. I wonder if this is something that they'll mention in their earnings report or not. Not as anything that has affected them now, but as something that will be a part of their guidance moving forward. Maybe they, revise downward their projections. Who knows? We'll see. As for the privacy sandbox that will replace third-party cookies, advertisers believe the solution is inadequate. Quote, our findings identify multiple challenges to implementation due to limitations in accomplishing key advertising objectives. Anthony Kopsor, CEO of IAB Tech Lab, previously said. In response, Google argued that IAB Tech Lab's analysis contained, quote, many misunderstandings and inaccuracies. Ad tech names to watch out for: Trade Desk, ticker TTD; Digital Turbine, ticker APPS; AppLovin, ticker APP; Magnite, ticker MGNI; Perion Network, ticker PERI; Pubmatic, ticker PUBM; Viant, whose ticker is DSP; Integrated Ad Science, whose ticker is IAS; and then Innovid, whose ticker is CTV. So Google basically, just for all my people who are like, what the heck are cookies, right? I know, hopefully this means we don't have to enable them all the time, because I feel like I spend half my time online enabling or disabling, granting rights to cookies and all that stuff. But basically, it just allows companies to more easily advertise to you, and it helps Google, right? Because Google makes money off of the ad revenue. So this is something that serves to possibly impact Google's bottom line if they can't continue to say, hey, if you advertise with Google and you put ad money here, you'll get a better return than if you put it somewhere else. If they can't continue to say that, then obviously that's something that can affect them in the future. We have to wait and see, right? Maybe their solution does end up working, even though some people like this organization, the IAC, think that it's inadequate. Their solution, we'll see, right? We'll see if the privacy sandbox can do what it needs to do. But overall, this isn't something that is affecting Google right now, so it might be something that we hear of in the future. So we file this under like subconscious memory. If we see it again, we know kind of where to pull from, and okay, I've heard this before, and it's not new news. But this is nothing that I expect to impact Google materially right now, unless they make a big deal about it during the guidance call, right? If they do during the guidance call and they're like, hey, we're no longer going to get the same revenue from ads because we had to switch the way that we do cookies and switch to sandbox, then yeah, it would be a big issue. But otherwise, I don't see it being a big thing right now. In terms of automotive news, affordability shift. Tesla shot up 13%. We needed a 10% move. It got 13%. So if you had Tesla calls, you made money. Congratulations. To $163.96 a share after hours on Tuesday. Despite a sharp drop in Q1 earnings, deliveries, and margins, as investors latched onto the automaker's commitment to launch more affordable models that can be produced on existing production lines. CEO Elon Musk also talked about the latest full self-driving software release, adding that Tesla is in talks with at least one major automaker about licensing FSD. That seems like such a loose thing. We are talking to one other company who wants to license full self-driving. Seek Alpha analyst Stephen Fiorillo said the market is giving Tesla credit for its vision and product roadmap despite its weak quarter. And that's why earnings are so darn like volatile. I mean, they literally, what did they miss on? Right? A sharp drop in earnings, deliveries, and margins, and they're still up 13%. So that's why with earnings, it's just like you can get it all right and still get it wrong. Make sure that you are not, because I know, there are a lot of people who, earnings season, they're like, oh, this is going to be easy. Tesla's getting crushed. I know they're going to miss. I'm going to skip paying rent this month and I'm going to put that on puts. And then, I'm going to have rent for the next 6 months. And no, shot up 13%, right? Adopt a system that has you winning more often than you lose and winning in larger magnitude than when you lose, and continue to hammer that system and also manage your risk, because everything that looks like a layup is no longer a layup, especially in 2024, right? So just be knowledgeable about it. Even if it did end up being a layup and we dropped 27%, awesome. But this is still the other side of that, right? So there's nothing in life that's a lock, right? At this point, people always, whether it's with bets or this, that, what's the lock? Nothing's a lock, right? You could have anything happen overnight, or sentiment change, or just things defy all expectations, and there is no explanation for it. You really just got to manage risk and take good setups more often than not. Seeking Alpha analyst, we talked about him, but investing group leader Jonathan Weber warned that Tesla has considerable operational problems while still trading at a premium valuation. So in terms of tech news, a bill that will force ByteDance, ticker BDNCE, the Chinese parent company of TikTok, to sell the social media app or else face a ban in the U.S., passed the Senate Tuesday night. The measure was attached to a larger $95 billion foreign aid package in support of Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. President Biden has voiced his support for the aid package as well as the TikTok measure. If he signs the bill into law, ByteDance would have about 9 months to divest the app. If the TikTok bill becomes law, Meta platforms, Google, and to a lesser extent Snapchat stand to gain the most. Those tickers being Meta, Goog, and GOOGL, and then Snap for Snapchat. Yeah, I don't know who would end up buying TikTok if they had to sell it. I don't know how this is going to end up working out. So we'll see, right? But at this point, it's going to Biden's desk, past the House, past the Senate. And Biden said if it reached his desk that he would pass it. So at this point, consider it passed. It's just what happens in the meantime, right? They have up to 9 months to divest. And you guys know how things move in democracy, right? They're like, oh, this thing has to happen. Oh, but there's going to be a 2-year, provisional period. And then there's going to be a 5-year check-in period. And then nothing ends up happening. So we'll see if anything actually ends up happening here. And if, China can find some type of workaround in order to still maintain, albeit proxy control of TikTok. We got to wait and see, but I wouldn't put it past them like saying like, hey, I will come in and invest. You buy our company and you do with it what we want you to do with it, and we will invest $5 billion into your company or something like that, right? It's like, hey, you go ahead. It's like somebody who's banned from a sports book from placing bets, and like, hey, you place these bets for me, and I'll line your pockets as long as you place these bets for me because I'm banned from these sports books. I could see something like that end up being the case, but we'll see. Whoever's going to have to buy it, they're going to have to buy it for a lot more than what it was selling for back when there was this whole, narrative that TikTok was getting sold. Because originally Oracle was going to buy it, right? There was Apple that was in there. There were all these different platforms. Well, the price has gone up significantly since then. I mean, TikTok Shop crushing it. Their last earnings report smashed expectations. So whoever does buy it will likely have to pay an arm and a leg. But everybody always thinks it's too much until time goes on and they see the vision. Everyone was laughing at Meta buying Instagram for $1 billion, and now Instagram is worth like however many billions, right? It was literally on everything from the Tonight Show, like everybody was making fun of it and just like, what? Instagram is just a photo sharing app. You're paying $1 billion for photo shares. Same thing. So I could see it selling for a ridiculous amount now and it probably getting the same flack. Regulation news here, non-compete ban. The Federal Trade Commission has voted to ban for-profit employers from making workers sign contracts with non-compete clauses, which the regulator said kept wages low and hampered innovation. Non-compete clauses ensured that employees couldn't join their employer's rival or launch competing businesses. FTC Chair Lena Khan said the ban, which will be effective in August, will result in more than 8,500 additional new businesses created each year. The ban, quote, lacks all nuance and will expose the trade secrets of American companies and harm investors, including pensions, foundations, and endowments, warned Jennifer Hahn, chief counsel at trade group MFA. I feel like that is kind of an issue, this whole non-compete clauses thing, especially in the realm of AI, because you could have these sort of predatory employees that bounce around to different companies and they share proprietary information and all that. And I feel like especially in something as heated as the AI race now, that's kind of an existential threat to these companies. So I'm sure, they'll find some way to work their way around it. Right, they'll change the verbiage or something. Lawyers are very resourceful, and they have great lawyers on payroll. I'm sure that they will be able to word something into the contract that can accomplish the same thing as a non-compete clause, just not be called a non-compete clause. In terms of today's markets, though, looking mostly green here across the board. Japan up 2.4%. I won't even go through all this again because, again, my stomach doing backflips right now. That darn expired milk. I feel like a Diary of a Wimpy Kid or like somebody in a sitcom like 2.5 Men or something. And this is the ongoing theme of the day. But we're just going to dive into, what else is happening here. We also don't have much on the economic calendar. Slowing economy, PMI manufacturing slips into negative territory. Meta Platforms Q1 preview focus on ad sales and AI growth. Grayscale files to launch lower fee spot Ethereum ETF. Solar woes, SunPower to restate results and phase outlook misses. Analyst Apple slices 2024-2025 Vision Pro shipment forecast. No way, right? I mean, we talked about it on here. That thing is ridiculously overpriced, and people just aren't. They're not with it anymore. You can't do that like during basically recessionary times and come out with things like that and expect them to crush it, especially when you're not dropping it anywhere else for the same price. HashiCorp, ticker HCP, spikes on report IBM nearing deal to buy firm. GM delivers prove me quarter as turnaround seems underway. Then Indy Semiconductor, ticker INDI, spikes before close amid takeover talk. Then Goldman, higher oil prices won't really have an impact on global inflation. All right, I'd be interested to see how so. Jamie Dimon, economy booming, but beware of fiscal dominance. So that'll wrap us up here this morning. 04, 24, 24. All right, maybe look that up, see if there's some angel number relation, anything like that. But let's make it another great day, guys. We've had, great fortune thus far this week, and let's see that continue to compound as we navigate the craziness that's happening right now. We got multiple wars, we got earnings season. We're still getting to the opportunity, executing, making it happen, and getting 1% better along the way. So let's continue to do that, continue to crush it, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.